Hey, Nas dropped an album today.
Yeah, King's Disease 3.
And the first album
Why
and
is
only
Nas
album,
dropping so many albums?
I guess he
You
wants
used to
to.
could go 5-6 years without getting a Nas album. Now he's dropped one like every year.
I think he wants to prove that he's like the GOAT of rap, but so he's dropping albums with Hit Boy, right?
Yeah, which I think I like the idea of it being kind of the way he's doing it because it makes sense. They're not like
Nas beats.
how most people do projects. Yeah, like he's found someone that he's doing like Mad Lib, the producer.
I know the name, yeah.
So like I know MF Doom, like he was doing like Mad Lib does like albums with people similar to. You could even argue kind of like how Metro Boomin, 21 Savage, but then Metro Boomin also like he's like you know what I mean. Like these are the way that they're doing it is similar to that. So that's why I kind of like it. But he's just spitting them out back to back. It's just a lot from Nas, is all I'm saying.
And here's the sad thing.
Nas is like 50 too, so it's just like
I'm not checking for Nas even when it's good.
I liked King Disease, the first one. But that was also like his first album in like 5 years too when he did drop it. So
we're talking about Nas albums. We're supposed to be talking about it being Veterans Day and salute and service and those men and women who defend this great country, United States of America. And I have on my salute service Falcon shirt. Let y'all know I stand with you for America. God bless USA.
Yeah, God bless America and all those heroes out there serving this fine country that we call home in the United States. Salute to them. I don't have my salute to service, paraphernalia, but I do have on a Lakers hat, and those are a bunch of veterans, and they look like they need some saluting too because it looks like those guys. I really, you know what? Maybe that's what we can just segue into to start. We can get on the NBA a little early, and I don't know, talk about how certainly with the Lakers, this thing is already over early for them. They're like 2-8, 2-9.
So and
LeBron's out now with the groin injury that he got the first year he was there. Very similar injury where he missed 19 games. And we know they're not winning any games without him. So
I think LeBron is taking a stand right now. I think he's pouting. I think that the Lakers suck for one. But I was listening to Nick Young and Gilbert Arenas talk about the Lakers and rebuilding the Lakers. And it was so funny to listen to two players talk about it. Gil, obviously a former All-NBA player whose career got derailed by injuries. Mm-hmm. And Nick Young, one of the most he's a heat check guy. One of a premier heat check guy in the league, a guy who could score 30 or could not score for 3 games.
Fair.
Like, you're not going to build your team around Nick Young, but if you know basketball, Nick Young is a bucket and can give anybody a bucket on any given night, right?
Yeah, and even that one year with the Lakers, I mean, I know he was there more than one, but like there was a year when he was with Kobe. Kobe was obviously like not really playing, but Nick Young was averaging like 19, 20 a game. I
mean, like Nick Young he's a good basketball player. Point being. And so they're talking about the Lakers, and the host was like, "So Gil, put your Gil Palinka hat on." He's like, "No. I don't want to put my Palinka hat on. Why would I put my Palinka hat on? He's terrible. Like, just because you're Kobe's agent does not mean you can run a team. Like, okay, Kobe. Who else do you know?" And then they started talking about the roster construction, and the roster is just poorly constructed. Russ gets a lot of hate because Russ does not fit well into this team. Okay. But if you had shooters and a couple of trash men, it wouldn't matter. Russ would be fine. And you could move the minutes around and make the rotation work. It's not that Russ is the problem. It's that everyone else around Russ is terrible. Everyone else around LeBron is terrible. And AD is not AD anymore.
Right. Yeah, there's that, and then I just think that it's tough to, in this league today, in the style of play and the amount of athletic guys. Most of these dudes that are the top dudes in the league, they're athletic as shit, but they're like not like how Russell Westbrook's athleticism was. You know what I mean? Like Ja Morant is like just in a weird way. I don't want to say he's like a LeBron James type athlete, just in a sense of like his natural given, like the kid can jump out of the gym, bro. Like he's getting back and he's chasing down balls and he's a 6'5", 6'6" guard doing this shit.
No,
like
he's 6'2".
6'2".
But he has the LeBron like passing to his game too.
He's a playmaker. And Memphis, oddly enough, I think when people think of Memphis, they don't really think about like his like supporting cast, but like Memphis got some steel ass players like on their team. Like these are dudes nobody really ever hears about because none of them are all stars. But like obviously, like Bane is like one of the best 3-point shooters in the NBA. Like that nobody talks about. Absolutely nobody talks about this dude.
And
but
Triple J is out right
now. 21-point game guy that's shooting close to 44, 45% from three because he's that good at shooting the ball. And if you've got a veteran center in like, I was about to say Seth Adams, Steven Adams, who's played on really good teams his whole career and is who he is. He's going to rebound. He's going to play defense. He's going to hustle, and he's tough.
Set good screens.
Yes. Yeah, right. And he's going to set you a mean screen. And you know that if you ever got into a fight, that's the motherfucker you want to have your back.
Absolutely. I just look at the Lakers, and look at the NBA at whole. Would anybody running the Lakers organization get a job elsewhere?
No.
Like, you know what I mean? Like maybe Darvin Ham, because he's the first-year coach and he has his terrible
head coach.
Yeah,
I don't know if the Lakers didn't hire him if he would have got a head coaching job this year. Like
maybe not this year. I
think Milwaukee. He's obviously been an assistant, obviously played in the league and stuff, but like what made was Milwaukee wasn't just this defensive like for instance, okay, the dude that got hired by the Jazz, obviously there's a connection to Ainge, but at the same time, Boston was very good defensively. There was an uptick, and give Ime obviously credit too, but like there was an uptick in the fucking defense the second, like after New Year's. Like they were a totally different team defensively. They were very good. So like I could see how, and we're seeing it with Utah, even though Utah doesn't play a lick of fucking defense, they are outscoring everybody. But you can see how this guy, like, he's turning into a solid hire. Like Darvin Ham, you hate to say it, for like the Lakers, they literally need a guy that they can't get. Like they can't get Spo. Like they need a Spo. They need a Phil. Like they need a guy like that.
The Lakers are
for them to even like be solid.
The Lakers are a poorly run success story, right? You think about our former president Donald Trump, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he has obviously achieved success in business, but his lows are really fucking low. And like I remember Mark Cuban talking about with what he started off with to build his empire versus his net worth. He's made a lot of bad business decisions. Like he has not been a great businessman, but again, he started off with such an advantage that it's worked out for him. That's the Lakers.
Yeah.
Look how quick Memphis made their turnaround. Look how quick the Celtics went from Paul Pierce and them to not really being good to like IT and them to Kyrie to Tatum them. Like they kept it going. The
like 1 year off, kind of.
Right.
They didn't make the playoffs, and then they were right back.
The Cavs are back
already. Yeah.
Yeah, like the Cavs are back. The Heat are back. The Pelicans are better than they were than when they had
probably any time with AD.
exactly.
Roster-wise, they're better.
Exactly. So you see all these different franchises who know how to build, they know how to develop, and the Lakers are like, nah, we just want the next like distressed asset.
We can't forget about our Atlanta Hawks from the Joe Johnson, Al Horford period. They went from that. Then it was the high of the 60-win team to then Dwight Howard came in and subbed out. Then you got rid of Millsap and Horford and Dwight, and then you had that basically kind of that 1 year off with Trey, and then boom, right back.
At the Jug Man voice.
Yeah,
and I don't understand. Like the Lakers are late. Carmelo Anthony was a perfect fit for the Lakers last year, right? He is the Lakers. Highly talented and will not put in the extra work to get to your best because you're good enough just showing up every day. And guess what? The Lakers are terrible right now. I bet you within 5 years they'll compete for another championship just because they're the fucking Lakers.
Well, and LeBron's number will be off the book, assuming probably. His number won't be there. AD will probably be gone. We know Russell won't be there. So the Lakers with money is always deadly, except for when you have an aging Kobe Bryant, because nobody wanted to play with Kobe at the end of his career, which obviously even with his health, it probably wouldn't have worked just because he was once he tore his Achilles. I mean, the Kobe Bryant that we knew, that was when his career ended. Day that he tore his Achilles.
But in Kobe's head, he was still Kobe.
Well, because Kobe could come out and still be Kobe, but he could only do it in spurts. I mean, he couldn't be the consistent Kobe. He couldn't be that Kobe anymore. He could not carry a team and they win. He could score 30, but they're going to lose by 20. So like, and then they had him playing with them fucking kids, man, which they all turned out to be solid kids, right? Like when you look at it, everybody that got to play with Kobe, and then the people that came immediately after Kobe, and all them kids turned out to be good. The Lakers actually drafted well.
That was Mitch, though, right?
It was Mitch. It wasn't
Rob. Rob's robbing them. And here's what I heard. I heard this from Gil. Apparently, Magic Johnson had the AD trade.
Uh-huh.
But they would have kept BI.
And I don't see how they didn't make the deal that way. I mean,
apparently there were people in the
organization
who thought Kuzma was going to be the better player.
He was having a year that made it you think that way, but that's why I just would have sold it as fool's gold. He was too hot at the moment. Like BI, you knew was like raw talent, KD looking kind of 2.0 in terms of stature and style of play.
And Kuzma was a 4-year guy in college, so yeah, he's bigger, stronger. Like
he's more of the finished product of what he was gonna be.
Yeah.
In the league, which he had a hell of a game yesterday. But
yeah, he did. But I mean,
he still plays for the Wizards, and he's still only at best the third best player on that team. So
yeah, and that a clock with no batteries right twice a day.
That's true too.
So are there is there anything in the NBA that's like speaking out to you besides
Trae Young's got off to a very cold start shooting.
Yeah.
He's been kind of abysmal, honestly. He is not. And I tell you what, let's talk about too, just with the idea of the Hawks. DeJounte Murray, that boy was worth. He's worth it. He was worth what they gave up.
Absolutely.
I think that he's the team. I think that he is the leader of that team already. I can already just see it. He's the vocal person. Like he's going to set the tone of the team. I feel like
I don't think
John Collins should kind of be that guy too, because John's been there longer than anyone.
But John Collins has been on the trade block for the last 3 years.
But John knows too is also the NBA that the NBA is a business, right? And more importantly, he should feel flattered that there were teams that did want him. Like he's a wanted asset in the league, so it can be flattering. Like, and even more so, they didn't want to give him up. They didn't give him.
Would you take street clothes in a John Collins? Throw in another wing and some draft picks deal.
if that wing is like Jalen Johnson, the dude they drafted from Duke.
I want to keep Jalen Johnson.
Really? But what's his face is the one that just had the big game that they just drafted, the one out of Duke, because they just drafted.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah, not Jalen Johnson. I want the rookie. That's the one I like.
Okay, yeah. Jalen Johnson's the guy from 2 years ago.
2 years ago, yeah. Yeah, let him go. I like the rookie. I can't think of his name. He went off the other day.
I keep wanting to say Hill. It's not Hill.
No, and I just Googled him the other day too.
Griffin.
Yeah, AJ Griffin.
Yeah, I agree. That's what I'm saying. But yeah, so if that wing is Jalen Johnson and like, gosh, I mean, if you trade your picks, I mean, you're really going all in though, because you already gave up so many of them to San Antonio. So you're basically going to mortgage your next 6 years if you make the deal, which I would be all in favor of because, like you said, or like Les Snead says, fuck those picks. So I'd be willing. I think that they would need to have their doctors look at them before, so they can get a good understanding. Like they need to see all the medical records. Like they need every document.
So you wouldn't trust the Lakers doctors?
And just know that, like, man, does this dude have bad luck with injuries, or is he just literally is he a player that's he's already breaking down?
If I were to trade for Anthony Davis, I would hire a private investigator to like kind of follow his life, see what he's doing. Like I want to know. I mean, because he's almost 30. I don't think he's married. So are you dating? Do you got you like a solid chick? What are you eating, bro? Are you still eating hot fries? Like, what time are you going to bed? Are you up on the game all night? Like, what? Like, what are your habits?
This nigga AD, we saw him at Dre's in Vegas once. This nigga was wearing a white T-shirt, and this part of the shirt where it's supposed to be up here, that shit was like all the way down here, and I was just like, damn, bro, you make too much money to be wearing a dumbass shit like this. Like, he looked like he was wearing a Champs 5 for 20 T. You know what I mean? Like that's what it looked like. And I was just like, bro, you got too much money. And it's just like,
bro, I feel like such a groupie that weekend because I had packed an 80 Pelicans jersey because, we're like, I knew I was going to be out and about one of those days, like outside. And it's Memorial Day in Vegas. It's hot as hell. And then, so like, I'm in the lobby at, oh my God, what's the hotel? The Aria. Yeah, I'm in the casino of the Aria, and somebody goes, hey, if you want to get that jersey signed, he's like over there. And I'm like, we're the same age. You think I'm gonna walk up to this man, his jersey on, and be like, hey, bro, you'll sign it for me? I just happen to be wearing his jersey. I'm not being a groupie right now. I didn't know he was here. No,
it's totally coincidental.
Like, I'm going to avoid this man because I have pride and I stand up when I urinate. And then I did see him later on another day, and I looked at him. He looked at me. I'm like, damn, bro, he's 6'10" for real. And then just kept it moving. The man is hard to be a fan. It's really hard to be a fan of a guy like as a grown man.
I'm not going to fanboy over no grown man.
Exactly.
I don't care how big of a fan I am. Like guys, like even when I was living, at the Atlanta, like Julio used to live in the same building as me, and I would see Julio, and I'm one of the biggest Falcons fans anyone will ever meet. But if I see Julio, hell, not even every time I spoke to him before. Like I was just like, "What's up?" I was like, "What's up, Julio?" I was like, "How's the knee?" Like shit. Like or the foot or whatever. He had an injury or the hamstring. It was just whatever. I was just like, how was it? And he's like, I'm like, good, man. That's good to hear. And then just kept it going. But like, even every time I'd see him, I mean, I wouldn't even say anything. Like, you just like, oh, there goes Julio. Like,
yeah, like
these niggas are still men.
Yeah, exactly. And it's
just like we put our pants on the same exact way every day.
Yeah, and like you look at Beyonce and how she has like this wild fan base, this rabid fan base
following.
Yeah, and like Nicki Minaj and even Cardi B and Meg Thee Stallion, right? Men will never have fan bases like that because men would never, ever, ever go that hard for another man. Like as a group, there will be onesies and twosies who do that, But you can't get a million of us to unionize together behind like the name of Jay-Z.
And stand for him and defend him.
No matter what.
Yeah.
You're like, bro.
Now look, I've seen heated ass barbershop type conversations where guys will go hard, like, they're like, nah, man, he the best. Like I said, especially more so in high school, though. Like as a grown man, I haven't been almost 30 and been somewhere and seen grown men going back and forth. But like, for instance, in high school, like I said, one of those arguments that will never die will be the Kobe LeBron debate. That is just a debate that anyone in our era that did get to see them both play in that era, if you were around this age, like you were, between 15 and 19, 20, during that era, that's an argument. Everybody's going to die on that hill that they stand on and be like, no, like he was the better player during this era. With them both in their prime, he was the better player.
Yeah.
So I've seen guys get it and it get to a heated point, but nobody is coming together as a group of men and getting on Twitter, ganging up on somebody because they made a comment. Like, you know what I mean?
No, we're not doing that.
Nobody, it's not that serious.
Ever.
We're man, look.
Let me tell you.
It's too many women out here. There's too much responsibility. There's not enough money in your pocket. Like, there's there's just so much more to worry about. Like,
I was talking to the wife about this today because, like I told you, pre-production, we're watching Love Is Blind yesterday, season 3 on Netflix. Not a paid ad. We were binging, and it was so funny watching the reunion this morning to see how the girls would like gang up together against certain people for how they treated the person who they didn't work out with. Well, I didn't like how you disrespect her because that's my girl and I love her. And I'm sitting there, bro. I don't care how my homeboy's girl treat them. I want them to be treated well. Well, if she doing you dirty and you stay there, that's my homegirl. Why is she your girl? Like, I'm never gonna get that like emotionally invested into what y'all have going on that I'm gonna be like, hey, bro, I don't really like it when you bring your girl around. I'd rather, if you come through, you leave her at home. No. And then one of the guys, he was
keep going.
So then, like, bro, one of the guys on the show, he we're not gonna go too deep into this, but he was like, yeah, I didn't like how you was treating her and all this stuff. Hey man, what's going on with you? You okay over there? You drinking milk to something this morning? Like you really over here worried about what another man doing? That's what we're doing right now? No. We don't do that. Like that's men. So I find it very interesting, like the difference. Oh, my freedom, what did it say? Freedom, where are you? Fell off the wall, but I find like the difference in the way men and women act towards each other in their relationships very interesting because as men, I think that we care a lot less. We care a whole lot less about things that we can't control or that other people choose to do. Whereas a lot of time women will have more of an investment into what they believe in and what they like. Now, how we got to that based off of what was it? Him meeting Julio. I don't know, man. We're just riffing here, we're having a good time. It's Friday. It's the end of the week of the last day. Big baby, it's on you. What you gonna do? I'm gonna get my pod on. I'm gonna get my drink on. I'm gonna get my sports bet on all weekend long. Get your pod on. Get your drink on. Get your sports bets on all weekend long. It's Friday. And he's back.
Did you just say do your thing, 21?
Nah, I didn't. I should have though. We didn't talk about the album because it wasn't out when we recorded. How'd you feel about it?
I liked it. I think it's actually I'm not gonna suck it off the way a lot of people have. Like, I don't think it's like that fucking great. But like, I would say that honestly, in terms of a collab album, it's one of the better collab albums I've heard in a minute. I mean, I've listened to it maybe like 2 times over, but then there's like the 3 or 4 songs that you really like that you'll listen to a little bit more. I think like Sabrina Ionescu is going to be added to Oregon staff. Interesting. WNBA must really not be paying these girls, but I'm dead serious, bro. How they got all this time? But then again, I guess that's not their end season either. But nonetheless, I think that the marketing behind it was great. Personally,
Vogue sued them.
I liked how they did the faux everything, like how they had, SNL, I think, the Vogue, even though they're getting sued, they did the Vogue photo shoot, color room or whatever, the tiny desk. Like, I love that. I thought that was genius. Howard Stern.
They're getting a tiny desk now. Tiny desk said, yeah, we're going to do one.
I think that it is brilliant. So I love the marketing behind it. And I think it's kind of an unexpected collab album too, right? So like
it's unexpected, but it's good.
Yeah. Well, because every collab that they obviously everybody, the one thing you took away from Honestly Nevermind or whatever it's called, I think it's Honestly Nevermind. The one thing everybody took away was the one rap track on there. They're like, oh man, this shit's tough. Like,
well, I put it in the group last week. I'm like, hey, can 21 rap? Because he held his own the whole album. There were some songs I could have done without 21 being on. Some of that soft stuff. I want to hear 21 talk about murder and killing. That's what I want to hear about.
Yeah.
I know we got to save black lives and protect the black community and get all this violence out of our community. But see, I'm one of those black people who is responsible. So I can listen to this music and it's nothing but entertainment for me. And it does not make me want to go kill anybody. Right. But the way 21 talks.
The same way you can watch Dahmer and not want to do it, right?
Yeah, right.
Even though that was real, which what he's rapping about is real. People do this. Allegedly. This is how niggas do feel, clearly.
Well, my favorite line is, because I'm a savage. Smacker booty at Magic 21.
Right.
Oh, God. I've been saying it all week, and it just makes me laugh.
Major Distribution. I did like Rich Flex too. I get how it's kind of turning into a meme because it does kind of. When I first heard it, I thought it was a little. I'm not gonna say it was fruity, but it was just kind of like, why is he saying this like this?
Like, well, it's off the Meg shit.
For me, like.
Oh yeah, that was.
Yeah, but the first time I heard it, it sounded hard though because like the beat was so dope and like. Drake's got a nice cadence. Like, that's why Drake is like. That's why most rappers are like. Most of these dudes, no homo, they have good voices. Like, they have they sound good over tracks. So, like, that's what typically gets. Because there are dudes that can rap, but that don't sound good. So, like.
Joe Budden.
His
rap voice is terrible.
Bump it up. But think of the only thing that anyone thinks of. I don't think it's Slaughter and House or whatever that shit was. Like,
yeah. Now you gotta go.
He gets they get a lot of credit. Eminem, like that collective, they were apparently very good together. But I didn't listen to that dumb shit. Like,
me neither. I listen to Joe Budden rap because I like his podcast, not because I think he's a good rapper.
But let me tell you, the ones that were really stuck out to me, I did like Rich Flex, but my like 4 favorite. I like Major Distribution. Back Outside Boys.
Yep.
Circo Loco is good. I think it just blew up because obviously the Megan Thee Stallion line. The best track on here, low key, is Privileged Rappers though. Like that is like to me the best song on that. That Drake absolutely bodies Middle of the Ocean.
Oh yeah. Well, he always
gives you that one track where he's just.
Where he's actually just going, he in his feelings. He telling you about how he feel about some stuff.
No hook or nothing, because those are the best ones when he has no hook. It's just rapping for 5 minutes straight. Like he lets you know that he's still like
him.
Like regardless of what y'all think, like nigga, I am a rapper still. Like I know that I'm a pop star, really, but like I'm a rapper, and like this is the reason why when Wayne signed me, like when people, you remember obviously that era. When Drake literally first came along, everybody would be like, yo, like on Ransom, right? You know what I mean? Like where he's going toe-to-toe with Lil Wayne on a song, and you're like, man, this nigga can rap. Like, what is it, 10 a.m. in Dallas? or 12 p.m. in Dallas, whatever it is. The one in Dallas.
4 a.m. in Calabasas.
Man, yeah, he just has these tracks where he just
raps.
Views the song on, views the album. Just.
Yeah, he said Serena's husband's a groupie. And I find that hilarious. Because I know they've been somewhere where he wanted to like take a picture with Drake or meet Drake. And Drake's sitting there like, yo, it's to date your wife.
My man said something. He was like, Big Benjamin's like the Pittsburgh Steelers. Said Robert Kraft sent me like the jet. He said he was very patriotic. Something Baltimore, the way they raving about us. Like,
he was rapping.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, bro. Like,
now here's what I didn't like about it. Him making fun of people taking their girl to hibachi for her birthday. What if she like hibachi? And the party bus. I was thinking about us getting a party bus for Boink's bachelor party. You know what I mean? Like, what, you know what I'm saying? Wait, you want to get the Sprinter now? The party bus is no fun.
Well, he's just dissing common folk, essentially.
Yeah.
Basically, he's basically saying, all you not rich niggas, by the way. Like, and then even some niggas that do got money that to be doing it. He's really, if anything, he's talking to them more than anyone. He's basically like, nigga, you not on what we on. Like you just like them type shit is really what that like meant.
But they're not supposed to be. You are one of the biggest stars in the fucking world.
Right, bro. You have your own plane, not jet, bro. You have your own plane.
Yeah, like the things you do are very privileged, and because of your talent, the team behind you, you seizing the opportunity is why you get to do this. Like,
and with that talent and that money and success, you get introduced to more things and different things. That not everything that everybody can get to see, unfortunately. Like if you've never sat courtside at a basketball game, how the fuck are you supposed to know, like, this is what be going on down here, like on the floor type shit? Like the shit back behind, like that everybody else can't go back behind. How are you supposed to know that what's down there? Like, and all this like crazy shit. Like, if you can't get a reservation to a certain type of restaurant, how are you supposed to know what this type of sushi is? Like, you know what I mean? If it ain't at a normal sushi spot. If you
can't afford good tequila, you don't know that 1942 is overrated and that these girls just drink it because it's popping, because they've never had another añejo.
They like the bottle, and it's the high quality version of Don Julio. Don Julio is already like a $60 bottle, so it's like this is like the real Don Julio, right? Like,
and if you think about it, Don Julio is such an overpriced tequila because there are your regular baseline tequilas that are so much better than a regular Don Julio, like Lobos, hopefully a future show sponsor, right?
All right.
Their $50 bottle tastes better than the Don Julio $60 bottle.
Yeah, that Don Julio bottle that looks like a fucking Christmas ornament. You know what I mean?
It looks like a bad built woman.
Yeah, like you misogynist, you. Nonetheless, no such thing as a bad built woman. All our women are queens. But either way, yeah, but just little shit like that. Like, even, you know, anything, even you could go cognacs too. Like, I think that like
Hennessy's not good.
Nah, not even Hennessy. Louis the 13th is good. I don't think that is worth $4,500 a bottle. That's just me personally. I don't think that shit's worth that. I think it is good. I think you're literally doing it for the name, like just to say, yeah, that's what we were sipping on this. It ain't even about like, nah, this the good, like this is the good shit. No, this is the expensive shit. Not the good shit. It's the expensive shit.
The Balenciaga Skechers, man. Or the Balenciaga socks.
Their version of Skechers, right?
Yeah. Or the Balenciaga socks.
Right? I was about to say, nigga, when Balenciaga and Skechers link up? But yes, the Balenciaga, their version of Skechers.
Like, because I like the Alexander McQueens, those designer shoes. I don't think I'll spend that much money on a pair of shoes right now, but I like those. And I would buy those not because they're Alexander McQueen, but because I actually like the style. I like the platform, the thickness to them, right?
I like the Dior sneakers. There's some Dior ones that I like. They're not, but they're nice. They're nice. Like,
I mean, Kyle Kuzma.
I know these are the I hate Jews too, but even these, and granted, these aren't. I don't even consider Kanye like Yeezys to be I guess they're designer. They're not really designer, but like
I mean, on the resale market,
shoes are worth way more, right? Like they're kind of expensive, but like. But I love these shoes. Like these shoes, I love these shoes. They go with everything. Like I can wear them with everything. Yeah, I love them, and I wear the hell out of them too. Because I don't give a fuck if there's a crease on them. I got a clean pair, but I love wearing these shoes so much that I need an everyday pair. These are my Chuck Taylors. You know what I mean? These what Chucks used to be to me, what shell toes and Air Force Ones used to be to me.
Bro, it's so funny you're talking about. Is anybody going to take a stand against Nike? As I'm wearing a Nike shirt. And it was so funny when you said that. I'm like, Cindy asked me what I wanted for my birthday yesterday, and I'm like, I don't know.
Fresh pair of white.
Give me a pair of white Forces.
You get those cocaine ones.
Yeah, I ain't had a pair in a minute. Like I ain't had a pair since I left San Diego, and I low key need. Like sometimes you just put a fit on. I want to put on a crispy pair of white Forces.
Well, right. Let me get those cocaine ones. And and then the more and more I even asked it, I knew nobody was realistically going to do it. But this goes back to even kind of the Kaepernick thing when people were like, man, I stand with Cap. Like, fuck the NFL. Like, we boycotting the NFL. The first thing I said was, okay, fine, boycott the NFL, which most of those people didn't watch the NFL to begin with. If it was on, they would maybe watch. Or if they're from Atlanta and it's something to do to go to a Falcons game, maybe they'd go. But like they're not invested in football. But even the people that, let's say that were football fans to a degree that decided that they didn't want to watch, fine. Then are you going to boycott everything associated with it? Like you just said, you're wearing a Nike shirt. So if you're going to boycott Nike, then you're boycotting anything that they're with. That would be the NFL. You know what I mean? There's the NBA. Yeah, everything associated with it, you have to get away from. If you're going to boycott the NFL, you must not want Anheuser-Busch products because – they give them money too. Amazon, you can't shop there. They fuck with the NFL. You feel me? You don't want to watch any Fox TV show. You know what I mean? Because the NFL, you don't want to watch Disney movies, nigga.
Well, we don't watch Fox anyways because of Fox News because we're raging libs over here.
Right. But I'm just saying, if you're going to disassociate with something, you got to do it all the way around because if not, then you're not really boycotting. You can still put money in their pockets. So what difference do it make?
Yeah. And I'm not anti-boycotting. I just say that I'm probably not going to boycott something. Like, I mean, and maybe that speaks to me not having the strength that some of you woke folks have. But I don't care that much. And not that I don't care that much. It's that these are private organizations who get to choose their priorities. You're not entitled to work there.
Yep.
Like it doesn't matter if you are the best candidate for the job. If you don't align with their ideology, then they get to treat you. They don't have to hire you, or they don't have to continue to employ you. And now, if people on the inside decide they don't want to take it anymore, totally different story, right? Robert Sarver getting removed from the Suns. It wasn't the fans saying they're not going to go to games anymore because of these media rights deals and apparel sales. He's still going to end up in the black, okay? But and because they share profits in these leagues, right? Like you don't, you know, and it's for the listeners, right? But once the sponsors say, "Hey, yeah, we're done with you. We're done with you. We're done with you," that's when the stuff happens, right? So Nike doesn't get hurt when we say, you know what, a few of us we're going to stop buying Nike. Nike gets hurt when LeBron makes a statement against Nike, when Kevin Durant makes a statement against Nike, when the NFL goes, you know what, Nike, we're going to terminate this contract because we don't like the way you're doing business. We're going to go to Adidas, or we're going to go to New Balance, or we're going to go to Russell. You know what I mean? Like the actual people who are putting the money in their pockets.
Yep.
Because as much as we as consumers think we have a lot of control, we do if we unionize. But this is the reason why communism doesn't work, because the people will never come together under one common goal to defeat the machine. So you have to have the important figures who can actually make the machine hurt. If Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers say no more OTAs, Patrick Mahomes says no more OTAs, get rid of OTAs, guys.
Basically, there is no correct way for we the people to kind of come together on it. I mean, unless of course you go cold turkey, but none of us really have the discipline realistically to do it as a collective, right? Like kind of like how we talked about earlier. Beyonce, the Beehive, right? These people, now granted, these people have no lives, right? Like they legitimately, these people, the fact that they get behind a computer and are searching for stuff and looking for stuff to dig up on people, and they say something bad about somebody and then they try to cancel them. They retort immediately to any negative things. Like somebody could make a random tweet, not at Beyonce, not at the fan page or whatever, and they just say it, but because they're on Twitter searching the word Beyonce, they're going to scroll through and look and see if anyone has said anything negative about Beyonce, so that they could get the rest of the other 50,000 people that follow them that have no life, that are all looking to hop on. Like unless you've got that type of commitment coming from people, it's going to be really hard to unionize against anything.
Yeah, yeah. And that's why there isn't a union, and that's why rappers continue to get beat over their head. Because
could you imagine if you had an NFL PA or an NBA PA, but for rappers, like I don't know what you'd call it. I guess the hip hop,
the hip hop union. Like, hey,
HHR, the hip hop rapper, HHRU, hip hop rappers union, like,
or you could just have a entertainment union, or specifically for the black community, hey, black entertainers union. But guess what? Guess who's not trying to look out for Pooh Shiesty? Jay-Z. Hey, whoa. Hey. You're getting a profit. No, but you're also getting a profit sharing. You're going to get into like different negotiations and stuff. And Jay going to be like, yo, I'm 50. I know these people. I've made these people a lot of money, and they are actually paying it back because they rock with me. And
right. I paid my dues. I did my time to finally do this, and y'all can too. Like I'm telling you that it's possible. Now, not everybody going to do it because that's just not the way life works. Not everybody can be what they believe that they can. That's just not the way that life works.
Yeah, no.
But if you do play your cards right and you are that dude, I promise you it will work out for you.
But the people, the guys who would make it happen are not going to sacrifice what they have for those who are at the bottom end, The rappers who are doing $15,000 a show, they got 100 bands in their pocket and they're rich. Whereas Jay-Z looks at 100 bands and go, okay, what you want me to do? Like, you want me to do something for $100,000? Are you crazy? No.
Jigga.
Anyways, you want to talk some sports a little bit?
Let's talk a little sports.
All right, we're going here.
We are all here to do what Falcons do. Look at that.
Yeah, Marcus Mariota forgot about that last night, didn't he?
He forgot about a lot, man. I know obviously you watched the game. What would you say was the lowest point of that game for the team?
The pick that was not a pick. That
the one where he was on his fucking back and he just like
and he deserved to throw a pick six on that play for thinking it was smart to even get rid of the ball then. Or maybe it was the fourth down where he took the sack. Or maybe it was the third down when he ran out of bounds and he didn't throw the ball away. Or maybe it was when
that was such a bad play. The fact that like my man was running by the sideline and then he was just like, fuck it. He could have threw the ball. Like, think about it. He didn't even have to make a play. Just throw the ball away. Don't lose 6 or 7 yards, bro. Like,
bro, you know what? I would have taken an intentional grounding on that play. Because that play tells me he does not know where his receivers are supposed to be at. Because he should be able to throw the ball to the sideline and somebody should be close. Like, you should know where somebody's at, right? Or maybe it was that wide open pass to Kyle Pitts that he just overthrew for no reason, and Pitts probably would have ran 30 more yards. You know, it was so like I had been, you know what, Marcus is going to get us through the season, and I accept it for most of the year. I was not calling for Dez. But the last 2 games, some of his mistakes are just inexplicable.
They're bonehead. They're literally they're bonehead call. Like, and I think that just the one thing, I get it. He's Arthur's guy, right? He really is kind of Arthur's guy. But my thing is that at the same time, well, Arthur, you already benched him once.
Yeah.
You were able, you ultimately probably did. I mean, you're the offensive coordinator, you're the play caller. So like, you're the one that you've done it before. And it just made me think, is Ritter performing bad in practice? Like, is there something we just don't know because we're not seeing it? Or because by now, 4-4, okay, understood, right? But now you look at the last 2 games and you're just like, man, he's not making the plays for us to win these games. It's not 100% on him, but my goodness, if you just had a guy that could throw the ball, mistakes are going to happen. But Marcus Mariota was out there looking like a rookie yesterday, man.
Yeah. And my thing is, we drafted Dez in the 3rd round. Not a huge fan. Period. But we drafted him. I want to know what he is. What is this guy? Is he good? I mean, he's a father, so that means he's more responsible. So can he lead this team like he leads his household? You know, I want to see what he has, because if we suck, man, let's get Will Levis in here, man.
And that's going to be the positive if you put him in. You put him in, and he can win some games. We might have the guy.
Maybe we have Dak Prescott, Russell Wilson. You know,
and we will Kirk Cousins to a degree.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we'll have a guy that will know, okay, we can move forward with this guy. The longer that you delay it and you give him less games to prove it, like let's say that Mariota does start against the Bears and we lose and we're 4-7, but Tampa is still 5-6, and we just really feel like we still like you're just delaying kind of the inevitable. We need to figure out who we are. We know we want to run the ball, and we know who Marcus Mariota is, and that's a backup in the NFL. We know that he's a fucking backup. So I don't know. I think that one of the poorest things I saw, and this was more on Arthur Smith, Nick, you could argue it was on Mariota. Before the end of the first half, we got down within like 25 yards, and it was like 45 seconds, and we had a timeout. And we ran some of the most bonehead, like just play calling. There was a play with 20 seconds right before when we had already used a timeout where Mariota got it and threw a short pass to Cordero for like 2 yards. And I was just thinking to myself, why aren't we taking a shot to the end zone right now? We don't have any more timeouts. It's 2nd down, and it's 20 seconds. But what that told me too is you don't trust this son of a bitch either. Like clearly, like you don't even trust him to do that because you're afraid he might turn the ball over, or he don't trust himself. One or the other. Somebody's not trusting somebody.
Well, I'm not trusting Rich McKay.
Arthur still is. Blank, not to be confused with Smith, but Arthur still is.
I think Arthur Smith is a good coach. I do think he does have some questionable play calls at times, but it's hard to judge it with this terrible roster we have, man.
And that's why next year we're going to really get to see who Fontenot and Smith are, because the excuse the last 2 years is we've been doing it with nothing.
Is Terry still associated with the team?
You don't ever see him, right?
Or hear his name? I didn't know Terry. I don't. Maybe
But,
that's good.
Terry's busy. Terry's busy in the back office, talking up trades with is it Shad Khan, about how he's like, hey man, we got this guy that likes to gamble. He's a hell of a football player though, but he might have a gambling problem. What type of gamble do you want to place on him? What can you send us? That's what Terry's doing apparently. He's wheeling, dealing.
For
He's like,
a conditional.
I see you guys have a cornerback that y'all have kind of bench. Your secondary has always been shitty. Granted, this guy's a vet, and we are in trouble at corner because our top 3 guys are out. We got this 7th rounder. What do you think?
Here's what we'll do. I'm gonna give you a legitimate number 1 receiver who's had 1,000+ yard season.
Damn near almost 1,400 with 10 touchdowns.
I'm gonna add
catches.
I'm gonna ask for some Laffy Taffy and some Slim Jim in return. And hopefully I'm hungry as hell, and that does the job for me.
Now, if he in fact does perform, though, on the positive side, or I tell you what, if you guys like him enough, which the thought would be that you will, we're going to upgrade that Laffy Taffy and that Slim Jim, to some cut up from the Publix. Expensive as hell, looks good. It's healthy for you, can be good for you. But we all know it's just expensive as hell fruit. It's the same fruit you can buy. They just cut it up.
Let me tell you what. One of the probably shouldn't air this on the podcast, but who cares? One of the things that gets me going on the grocery shop. Anytime I see some cut up fruit put into my grocery fucking buggy. What are we doing here? It's one thing if you buy the cut up from 7-Eleven because you're stopping at the gas station and you're hungry or some shit. I got that.
But would you really want it from the gas station?
QT, sure.
Okay.
But if we're gonna go to the grocery store, we're not gonna choose the cut fruit. We're going to go home and cut the fruit.
Well, because that's why you have knives, right?
Knives, cutting boards, Tupperware, freezer bags. Now I will say I do buy frozen fruit because I'm lazy. But there was a time in my life where I made my.
You do that, but you probably do that for smoothies and stuff, right?
Yeah, smoothies. Yeah.
Or alcoholic beverages, whatever.
Just smoothies. I used to do a smoothie every morning. A little spinach, cucumber, some mixed fruit.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
I'm a juicer. I like juicing.
The wife likes to juice. She likes to make celery juice because apparently it's good for you.
Celery juice is good for you, which is weird because celery itself has no nutritional value.
Let me tell you what. I plan for you guys this weekend. I got wings in the fucking refrigerator right now that are about to get transferred to the freezer. That are.
Yeah.
I'm gonna throw a couple on the grill tomorrow.
I want and I've been looking forward to that too, because you got to do it again, and it's only because you're the first person I can recall ever buying frozen wings, but doing it so well.
I do what I can.
And if you remember, those were frozen wings you bought from, I don't know what it was called in California.
Food for Less.
That's what the name of the
grocery
was. Because most of the time, you'll get, somebody buy the pack of wing, they'll cut them or whatever. But obviously that makes it quicker and easier. And it was a lot of us too. So it made sense that you bought it. So I was curious because I was just like, I wonder how this is going to turn out. Now I'm like, man, he just fried the fuck out of these wings and tossed them, sauced them the right way.
I get excited, man. But yeah. I want to talk a little bit about Jeff Saturday.
How could we not? We have to talk about Jeff Saturday. We're 2 hours and 45 minutes from Saturday. So we got to talk about Jeff before we get there.
I mean, hold on. Let me turn that off. What do you want to do? You want to get the Jim Irsay press conference piece first?
Yeah, if you could, because I think that I'm not mad at Jeff's aspect of it, because all Jeff could say was no. If he got offered the job, we can't be mad at him for taking it. But Jim's logic behind it was tanking 101. Quarterback's been such an issue there since Andrew Luck, and this is supposed to be a quarterback heavy class, right? So like it's supposed to be that. There's supposed to legitimately be 4 guys that could go in the top 10 and some would believe 5 in the top 15. So like, and possibly 6 in the top 20, right? So like, we know that they need a quarterback, obviously. Like that's clearly like what they want. Like in this draft, like that will be like the first position that they address. And Jim in that press conference is trying to convince everybody that like,
because it's an intuitive thing. There's no rule book that tells you now you should make a change, now you shouldn't. It's something for being in the league 52 years, it's intuitive. I've been thankful. I've never hired a losing head coach in my life. The last interim head coach I hired became a Super Bowl winning coach, Bruce Arians. So I've been fortunate and blessed on the path of bringing in coaches, whether they're interim or head coach. And I know Chris and I, as we talked and really met Sunday night face to face in a difficult conversation. We had a lot of dialogue back and forth. It was a lot of grinding, a lot of really drilling down in and really. I don't know how to make sausage. I don't know what goes into sausage, but I do know how to build a football team because I've been around for 52 years.
I mean, it was a lot of incoherent babbling.
Wasn't Jim got caught once. He got arrested, right? He had like some perks and like $25 or like $40,000 cash, like in his car. Granted, he's a billionaire, so like, I'm not really surprised he had $40,000. I mean, I am curious, what were you doing with all that? But like, because nobody just is driving around with it unless they're going to use it somewhere. But like,
let's see. Let me find it. May 16, 2014, Irsay was arrested under suspicion of DUI and drug possession in Carmel, Indiana. According to the Indianapolis Star sports columnist Bob Kravitz, Irsay had an ongoing drug problem. This was highlighted later when it was revealed that Irsay's mistress had overdosed and died in a house that Irsay controversially purchased with money belonging to the Colts. Okay, there, Irsay. You're a bad boy. So maybe he hadn't kicked the habit, and maybe I think he's tanking and he just got around the Ring of Honor guys and like, you know what? Frank's not the fucking guy. No matter what he does, he's not the guy here.
Yeah, and they're all football guys. So like, they're like, nah, he's not getting it done. Like, and Jeff, if Jeff had been a consultant like they said he has been for 7 years and he's literally been on the payroll, which I wouldn't doubt it, I guess. But like, he's been working at ESPN. So it's just like, when exactly is he doing the consulting? Only on Sunday, or like when does that take place? or are you saying that he's a consultant because you would text him every now and then and ask him what he thought of the game because you knew he was probably watching? And it probably helps that Jeff already has a house there. Jeff like lives here too, though.
Yeah,
because Jeff went to high school here, and obviously his head coaching experience is with a high school team here. So like, I think Jeff definitely lives here. But like I said, I think he's from Georgia. I think he's from Atlanta.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
So as much as I wanted to come in here and blast Jim Irsay, I just can't do it. Like I guess I am exhausted on creating the fake outrage because I saw like the race conversations that came here, and I think that conversation is always a conversation you can have in NFL hiring, but I don't think race had anything to do with it here. I mean, Jim Irsay has a pretty good track record,
but
I mean, he does have. That's just like saying I have a black friend, but
for what it's worth, Reggie Wayne is a former player in the Ring of Honor too, and he was already on the coaching staff. So it's
I just really think he really liked Jeff Saturday. Jeff Saturday was a great leader, and he like. Jeff probably said some shit and he's like, you know what, Jeff, I think you can coach these guys, man. Come on, I'll give you a chance. I'll give you 8 games. You go out here, you see what you can do. and we'll go from there.
We'll reconvene at the end of the season.
No, I think this is going to be a absolute dumpster fire. I think it's going to work poorly, and I think that he's going to struggle to get a real head coach in there because guys who have any bones about themselves don't want to touch that franchise because they know that Irsay's calling all the shots, and his GM is sitting there with his fucking dick in his hand, and he's just holding it. Like, I mean, he's not. I mean.
The guys on NFL Live went through it. It was like Ryan Clark, might have been Tim Hasselbeck and like some other people, Dan Orlovsky. Yeah, Swaggy was there. So like they basically were talking about it, and they were like, the guys, he's going to lose the locker room because guys are going to be like, all right, so they don't even give a fuck no more. Like basically. That they went once Jeff Saturday's news conference got delayed twice and was on the day of a football game on a night. It was at night too.
Monday Night Football.
Yeah, they didn't do it Tuesday morning, and they're on bye, so it's not like they're playing this week. So like, but it was or no, they're not on bye, or are they?
No. They got the Raiders. They got the Raiders this week. I'm starting Derek Carr and the Raiders defense.
You're pumped. But Matt Ryan had returned to practice. So my first thought was if Jeff Saturday's smart and they do want to try and win games, I would put Matt Ryan back out there. But I get why he got benched to begin with because they don't want him to get hurt, even though this guy has been an Iron Man his entire career. They don't want him to get hurt. But if you're legitimately actually trying to win games, obviously I'm not saying 2 games is the tell-all story of Sam Ehlinger, but we know that he's not the guy. So it's just like we know what Matt Ryan is, but basically NFL Live, Swagoo, all those guys, Ryan Clark, they were basically saying, even for the offensive play calling, that they just picked out a dude that's never called play. They said Matt Ryan would probably be the most, capable person of actually calling the plays. Like at that point, especially if you're not going to play him, just hire Matt as the OC and let Matt call the game. Like, I
mean, there's no one else in that building who can do it because you fired your OC last week.
He has the most football. I mean, Reggie Wayne, he has the most legitimate experience of calling a play call. Like he could call the game in reality.
Yeah, I think that it's crazy, but I mean, it aligns with Jim Irsay. It aligns with a billionaire who's been successful. Like, and even Jeff Saturday's comments about knowing what right looks like. Dude, you play with Manning and Rodgers. I get that you know what right looks like, but you had
to prove wrong. You know how to make adjustments.
you had 2 guys who made it right even when it was wrong.
The one thing I expect him to actually help with is gonna be the O-line, because obviously he quarterbacked a pretty good offensive line for Peyton Manning for a long time, right? And he is an O-lineman. So, like, I feel like that will be the one area if we see any type of improvement, it's got to be on the O-line, because that's been the worst group on the team. That's been like one of the bigger issues. So, like, I do expect their offensive line to improve. Like, they should. Just with him being the head coach, like, and that being such an important part of an offense, I expect the offensive line to be better, especially because they do have talented O-linemen. Like, they have good offensive linemen.
All right, so not to cut you off, but to cut you off. Anything else you want to talk about before we get to the picks? Because we got to get shaking.
Yeah, we do. We didn't really touch Kyrie. We could kind of talk about that a little while I'm pulling up the picks. But yeah, man,
Kyrie,
they're neutering Kyrie Irving in front of us. It's so crazy.
I mean, they are. And let me tell you, the Adams
neutered.
Like, ESPN puts out some stuff on their Instagram via Woj. Resolution expected soon on Kyrie Irving. Irving has met with team, league, and union officials on several occasions in recent days, and there's optimism for a resolution very soon. The NBA PA told its membership Friday in an email obtained by ESPN. Even with the 5th game of Irving's suspension coming Saturday night against the LA Clippers, there appears to be no momentum for his return during this trip that extends through Portland on Thursday. From Adam Silver. He's someone I've known for a decade, and I've never heard an anti-Semitic word from him or frankly hate directed at any group. Whether or not he is anti-Semitic is not relevant to the damage caused by the posting of hateful content. I wonder how many Semites read that post and were actually outraged. You know what I mean? Josiah, we spent quality time to understand each other, and it's clear to me that Kyrie does not have any beliefs of hate towards Jewish people or any group. The Nets and Kyrie together with the NBA and NBAPA are working constructively towards a process of forgiveness, healing, and education. So I listen to all of this, right? I read this, and if you've talked to the guy and he's telling, and you all believe that he has no hate in his heart, then to me it says, okay, so in your eyes, he made a mistake. And I'm not going to call it a mistake. I'm going to say that y'all view it as a mistake. And so we're suspending him 5 games, or even
well, and then giving him this laundry list of
things to do
before even because really it's not even a 5 games. It's a minimum of 5 games.
Yeah.
If he doesn't complete all these things beforehand, then he just won't play in the NBA again. I tell you what, he sure as fuck won't play with the Nets, basically.
And then you have one of the NBA's biggest partners, ESPN, on doing a car wash of Kyrie. And has he played his last game for the Nets? Has he played his last game in the NBA? Anonymous executive says Kyrie Irving has worn out his welcome. Bro, do you know what anonymous executive can be in the NBA? It can be anybody. It could be the scout who has to go to Czechoslovakia to see if Luka's third cousin twice removed is worth a G League contract.
Yeah, because he plays basketball.
And he can pull anything out of his ass, and it gets to Woj or Shams, and NBA executive says, well, what role does he play? What power does he have? You know, that's one of the nice things I've learned from consuming a lot of sports media. And you'll have, like the cowherds of the world who go, well, who is this executive? Because a lot of executives can say something, but they don't have any juice in the building. So it sounds good for the media to report it, but it doesn't mean shit in an organization.
Exactly. And so, I think it's just a fucked up situation. I think that they're doing him wrong. I think it's so crazy that all that backlash is going to him. And I don't want to sound like a talking head on Twitter, but at the end of the day, it's like, well, it is on Amazon. Like Jeff's team had to fucking okay that shit to be up, especially if there's something wrong with it. If there really is something wrong with it, if there's something wrong with it, like I said, I haven't seen it, so I don't know exactly. I know that basically, I think the biggest thing I took away that was wrong about it was that they were trying to essentially say that the Holocaust never happened, right? So that, of course, that is insensitive. Like, that is very insensitive. That'd be like somebody trying to tell us that slavery didn't happen, right?
Right.
So that was wrong. But Kyrie even kind of stated that to begin with, that there were some things in this documentary that I agree with. There were other things that I did not agree with.
Hey, and here's the thing I said on the pod I did earlier this week. So when we tweet out an album or we share an album that we like, do we have to go through and pick the songs that we approve of and the ones that we don't, and specifically the lyrics that we stand for and the ones that we disagree with? Is that what we're going to have to do now?
That's what it almost sounds like to me, man. It sounds like nobody's going to be happy unless we don't have an opinion, and if it's not something that is 100% media, if it's not media friendly, then it's no good.
And that's the thing, like
we're
giving the mainstream liberal and conservative media way too much power into telling us what is socially acceptable and what's not. Because the media, they don't really live in the real world. They live in the media world. They spend a lot of time with each other. They spend a lot of time with their sources and the rich and the famous, right? Most of this stuff that the media is outraged about, whether it's sports media, whether it's political media, My mom could give a shit about it and probably doesn't even know about it, but she watches Jimmy Kimmel every night. So she finds out about this stuff, but it does nothing to affect her 60-plus-year-old life.
Right.
She could care less. She could care less about it. And I bet you there are a lot of people who don't consume this stuff, who are not on fucking Twitter, who are not on Instagram, who are not on TikTok, and they could care less. But guess what the media is not talking about? They're not talking about Amazon stock hitting the fucking shitter this week. Bought some of that. They're only talking about Twitter having its struggles because they hate Elon Musk and what he's doing because he is anti-media establishment, you know. We're not talking about the hit that big tech is taking this week. You know why they're not going to talk about the hit that big tech is taking this week? Because you're not going to get on big tech and tell the truth about big tech if big tech don't like it.
Yep.
Like Nike's gonna say we can't stand with Kyrie. We may sever our ties with Kyrie. And I say, well, what's going on in your sweatshop, Mr. Ethics? Why are you creating your products an American-based company? Why are you creating your products in China and not in America? Oh, you don't want to pay those taxes to the American government, huh? You don't want to abide by those American labor laws, huh? Okay. But you are the moral ethical compass that we should follow.
Yep.
Don't let me open your books. How much Nike money has been paid out to athletes to come to the University of Oregon before NIL? Like, why would anybody want to go to sleepy, cold ass Oregon to play a sport? Only because of Nike.
Yeah.
And it's okay that you're doing it, Nike, but miss me on your moral high horse, because it ain't got no legs. That's a dog that can't hunt. That's a blank. You shoot and you ain't hitting shit. As I'm wearing Nike, I am Black America.
Hey, salute to the
service, but I am Black America. I get outraged about things and then I put that shit on.
The NFL enjoys that, right?
Yeah.
But speaking of the NFL,
let's get some picks in here, man.
Let's get some picks in here. And actually, we'll go college first.
All right. Parlay Pete CFB 6-pack.
All right. We are back once again this week. And I didn't even check. Actually, we did. I think I was like 4-2 last week. There were a lot of
4-2 college, NFL.
Yeah, I don't think the NFL did very well.
It was a bad gambling week, NFL. Like,
yeah, it was. There were just a lot of upsets. But then on top, and it wasn't even like it's like Green Bay. But here, let's get to college first.
Okay.
All right. So starting off with college, we've got Iowa State at Oklahoma State. Give me Oklahoma State on and this week for college. This is what we're calling the bounce back week. I've got a lot of teams that are going to bounce back this week from losses from last week. Give me Oklahoma State on the money line. They didn't have Sanders. I just expect them to play better at home, of course. And I mean, like I said, pretty embarrassing to lose to Kansas, but Kansas is actually good this year. So there's that. Next, we got Missouri at Tennessee. We get Tennessee at 19.5. I expect them. They didn't score any points damn near basically last week. It was a lot of dink and dunk from Hendon Hooker, but he also won against an NFL defense. So can't be mad at that. But we're going to roll with Tennessee at minus 19.5. I think that they bounce back against Missouri. They're better. Plus, they need all the style points they can get.
Yeah, they do.
Going for it because they've got to beat the hell out of everybody they play. And they're at home. Next, we got Louisville at Clemson. Let me get DJU minus 6.5. Clemson still is supremely talented, and Louisville is not very good. They've got a poor man's Lamar Jackson there at quarterback. He's been there like the last 3-4 years. Let me get Clemson at home to get a bounce back W and by a touchdown. They haven't been playing good football. I expect them to actually come out and play a good game. Okay. Next, what many are calling the game of the week, TCU at Texas. This game's got huge implications for the playoffs. I'm going to roll with TCU on the road here at plus 7.5. I think that spread is really high. I think Texas is good, and I do think that Texas will win the game. But I like TCU to cover by a touchdown. I don't see them just getting the hell beat out of them. I really don't. And certainly if Texas were to cover that spread, it would be one of those things where kind of like yesterday, how Carolina kicked a field goal at the end of the game against the Falcons when it was meaningless, but they kind of just had to in order to end the game because they couldn't go for it or whatever. So let me get TCU a plus 7.5. Next, we got Central Florida at Tulane. Tulane's been red hot this season. I like the Fighting Gus Malzahn's, though, on the road. Give me Central Florida with the money line. And then finally, we got Alabama at Ole Miss. It's tempting to touch Alabama on the spread here, but instead, we're going to take the over 64.5. I know that Lane and Nick love putting points up on the board when they play each other. So,
all right. So we got OK State on the money line. We got Tennessee minus 19.5. We got Clemson minus 6.5. We got TCU plus 7.5. UCF on the money line, and the over 64 for Bama at Ole Miss.
That is correct.
All right, man. Let's get to the NFL six-pack.
Let's roll into the fucking NFL. Arthur Smith, do the right thing. Nonetheless, we got the Detroit Lions at the Chicago Bears. Let me get Detroit on the money line. I like them to go in there and win the game as a dog. I'm drinking the Justin Fields is good Kool-Aid. I'm not drinking the Chicago Bears are good Kool-Aid. Give me Detroit. I think that they can put it together in that game. Next, we got the New Orleans Saints at the Pittsburgh Steelers. Well, you know I'm not taking the fucking Saints. Let's go with the Pittsburgh Steelers to get this home upset against the Red Rifle, and maybe they'll turn back to Jameis after this one. Next, we got the Houston Texans at the New York Giants. It's pretty simple to me. These are really favorable odds. Give me the Giants money line. I like them at minus 220. That's just really good odds for them at home against the worst team in the AFC. I mean, well, you could argue the Colts are really the worst team in the AFC, but the worst team on record-wise in the AFC. Next, we got the Cleveland Browns at the Miami Dolphins. The Miami Dolphins are a gold mine for fantasy football. I think that just about anyone, if you got any Dolphin, you are living right now. Tua's hot, and realistically, if he didn't get hurt, I think he would be at the top of the MVP conversation with Jalen Hurts.
Tyreek Hill should be there.
And Tyreek Hill could absolutely be there. So glad I have him on my team now. But let me get the Dolphins minus 3.5 at home, which is plus money, by the way. I know the Browns can take the air out of the ball, but I like Miami's high-flying offense. Next, we got the Arizona Cardinals at the Los Angeles Rams. This was a tough game because I think Matt Stafford has missed practice, so I have no idea. I'm going to gauge and say that he's going to play.
Shit, Kyler too.
Yeah. But they have the over-under at 40. I'm going to take some points. I think that they're going to get over 40. I know that that's kind of weird to say, but there's just so many star players on the field, and Arizona has a bad defense, and, I mean, the Rams have a good one, but something's got to change eventually, right? Like the Rams should score 4 points.
Over 40?
Yeah, I like over 40. We're talking 24-17 is 41. So I like the over. Let me get over 40. And then finally, we've got the Fighting Jeff Saturdays at the McDaniels fucking House of Horrors. As bad as the Raiders have been, no Darren Waller, no Hunter Renfrow. No problem. Let me get the Raiders minus 4.5 to cover against a guy that's never coached in the NFL that's going to be starting Sam Ehlinger. We're fading the Colts until they put Matt Ryan back in.
All right, so we got Lions on the money line, the Steelers on the money line, the Giants on the money line, Miami minus 3.5, Cardinals, Rams over 40, and the Raiders minus 4.5.
Yep.
All right, man, let me give you my three.
Let's get to Lee's 3. Lee's 3. Lee's 3. We need to get like a sound for that, like to where it sounds like Jerry, but it's like Lee's 3. Lee's
I like
3.
that. I like that.
Yeah.
We're gonna talk some of the new stuff we're gonna do here. We got to when you come down here, we'll sit down and
let's get it really put together.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with the Giants on the money line. I like that. I'm staying all NFL again this week. I like the Dolphins minus 3.5. You like it? I love it. Give me those Raiders minus 4.5. The Raiders.
We absolutely knew that you were going to go that route just because, like you said, you've got Derek Carr and their defense this week. You're expecting big things out of both.
I mean, look here. I'm fading Jeff Saturday.
Well, right. More than you are confidence in the Raiders. You're just
I have no confidence in the Raiders.
There's no belief in the Colts. Hey, Derek Carr did well for me last week, and granted, I wasn't maybe going to start Russell Wilson if he was available, but him and Dak were on bye, so Derek got me 18 points, so I was pleased.
Yeah,
that was good.
I just need him. I just need him to have a pulse. Hey, here's what I want to hit next week. I do want to hit this next week. I want to talk about the Chiefs' offense because I don't care what the stats tell you. I watched that offense and it's missing something. Like they are missing something.
They can't run the ball.
And their passing game is not as dynamic. Like Tyreek Hill is really showing his worth. But I want us to hit that a little bit deeper next week when we can actually talk about it in depth.
Missing big plays. I see where you're going with this, though. But is the most important thing to me.
They're not as scary. I'm not going to say they're not. They can't win the Super Bowl. They're just not scary. Anything else?
I was going to say, look out. Josh Allen might not play this week, and they're playing against the choky Minnesota Vikings. This is a team that typically does choke when they should win games. But
yeah, give me Case Keenum on the money line. It's not
against the team that he took to the NFC Championship, and then they immediately went and got Kirk Cousins as soon as he did it.
I mean, how would you feel if you got booted for Kirk Cousins?
Will this be a revenge game for him, even though it's not in Minnesota?
Yeah, and hey, Adam Schefter, that shit you did with imitating Kirk Cousins, that was nasty. That was gross.
It was anti.
It was, and we should boycott ESPN and Adam Schefter's tweets and his burner accounts.
Yep.
All right, dog.
All right, brother. Take care.
Yep.